Good evening, and welcome along to the show. Coming up this week, I'll be meeting the frontman with the Black Star Riders, Ricky Warwick. He's going to be here in the studio. John Devlin from John Devlin and the Revolvers will also be performing live. We'll find out about a brand new theatre project called Takeaway Theatre from Open Arts, and we'll be going live to the Royal Mint in South Wales as well. But to begin the show this week, we're talking happiness, and some new research is out this week which reveals the state of the UK's happiness levels. To talk about this further, we've been joined by Team GB's Olympic long jump champion Greg Rutherford and also media medic Dr. Karan Rajan, who joins us now on the line. Guys, thank you for joining us. So with all the doom and gloom around at the moment, people worrying about their finances and things, do we have anything to be happy about?
Of course we have. Yeah, we just have to go outside and sort of try and embrace it. I think we have to then latch on to whatever there is out there that we can enjoy. And that can be spending time with your friends, family, walks in nature. The research showed that about 48% of people, they take a lot of pleasure about being around their family. So we have to do that. We have to take time to embrace that. And we shouldn't be focusing too much on just moving straight on to the next thing. Live in the present, live in the now, and enjoy the people and places that you have on your doorstep.
So Dr. Karan, tell us, how important is our daily dose of happiness then? And what can we do to help improve those dopamine levels then?
You know, I think Greg touched on a really important point. And just going back to that research, one thing which really resonated with me was that happiness isn't purely achieved in the pursuit of material items, you know, a new car, a holiday, you know, a new job, but actually it's the little things that people take pleasure in, like spending time with your family. And, you know, if I could distill all the chemicals that go into making happiness into one bottle, actually that would be synthesized from spending time with family and loved ones. So you get the boost of oxytocin, you know, going out for a walk with your dog or just for a walk in nature. So you get a boost of serotonin, and doing things that bring you joy and stimulate those reward pathways, the dopamine. So a mixture of all those simple free things can give you that boost of happiness that we need.
Greg, I'm going to take you back to London at 2012 when you won that gold medal. Was that the happiest you've ever been in your life?
That definitely was one of the happiest moments of my life. Now, I've had 3 children as well, so I have to mention, of course, them coming into the world is the happiest moments. But look, from my point of view of my career, 100%. Look, it was sort of the stars all aligned, if you like. I had a situation where we had the games in London, so in our home country, of course, and I was a British athlete at the peak of my abilities, if you like. So everything fell together at the right time, and led to what was and is still the greatest modern Olympics of all times. And not just that, an amazing time for me to enjoy, to smile about, and actually something that I still have an opportunity now. Now I'm long retired and everything else, I get to look back at, and it still puts a smile on my face, everything about that incredible time. And I just wish we could have a bit of that now, to be totally honest, because I think it would really boost everyone.
And what goes through your head before an event like that? What's your memories of that night in London?
That's a really interesting one, actually. And over the last sort of month or so, since it's been the sort of 10-year anniversary, I've thought more and more about it. And it's the little things that nobody else would have ever have seen of that day for me, which really that start becoming more and more poignant. It's the interactions with my coach, the things that I ate, things that I was doing to get ready for that day, then getting on the bus, leaving the village and going to the stadium. The moment of walking into the stadium, that day-by-day play that sort of amounted to becoming Olympic champion on August the 4th in London 2012 is an amazing thing. And it's really nice now to just think about those incredible moments. And then I'll reach out and I'll message my coach who's back in Texas, and I'll speak to him. I say, I mean, obviously I've been long retired now, he's not really coaching me anymore, but a very important person in my life. And just to remember those moments, it's really, really special. And just even think of it now makes me smile. And that's a really positive thing.
And Dr. Karan, what about any standout happiness moments for you?
Yeah, you know what? Again, it's about those small things. Like, you know, my usual day consists of seeing patients, operating on patients, and, you know, trying to fix health issues, either removing a bowel cancer or fixing a hernia, something like that. And whilst a successful operation and improving someone's life in that way, or getting a degree of chronic pain away from them, gives a huge amount of pleasure to me and no doubt the patient, it's actually when I was working yesterday on on call, a simple thing which just filled me with joy was at the end of the day, I was dealing with a patient and they said, thank you. And it was just as simple as a thank you is all that was needed. And, after a 13-hour shift, that just filled me with joy and happiness. And that, again, goes to show is little things in life, paying a compliment to someone, being grateful for something, and not only doing things for yourself, which make you happy, but a random act of kindness to someone else, a stranger, saying hello to someone in the tube or the bus, just some things like that, which just those human social interactions just give a huge amount of pleasure. So things like that, actually.
Now, just coming back to the research, and 10% of people say that getting into the kitchen and doing some cooking and baking really improves their mood. Greg, you won Celebrity MasterChef. So does being in the kitchen make you happy?
It really does, actually. Lots of the different things in this research. Again, what was it? 28% of people find walking within nature exactly the same. All these different things I get fully involved with. And it really does help. Look, I love cooking. And of all of the different things that I've attempted since I retired, cooking has been one of the ones that I've loved more than anything else. Before I did the show, I could just about cook some chicken on a barbecue and a few bits of veg. And I tried very, very hard to learn as much as I possibly could during it. And I love it now. There's nothing better, especially if I'm making like a roast dinner or something, spending 4 or 5 hours in the kitchen, preparing it all for it to then be wolfed down in about 3 minutes with my children. But all of that process of creation, I'm not particularly artistic or anything like that. I have none of those bones in my body. But now being able to create good tasting food, I love it. So for me, cooking, baking, they're all really, really important things, which I love.
Now, you also appeared on Strictly. Is that an experience you're glad you did?
Yeah, it was an experience, shall we say. I don't think anybody else who ever saw me was, enjoyed it that much. It was very, very hard work at the time. An awful lot of time spent locked away in a room, desperately trying to learn steps that I'd never heard of, nor have ever tried again since. But look, all of these life experiences are amazing things. And from it, you meet people and you become friends with others, and etc., which I think is really, really helpful for just your life. Just again, for those moments of happiness, the fact that I did something like Strictly means that I have people in my life now that genuinely make me smile every day, which is a hugely important thing as well. But all of the different challenges, all of the different shows that I've tried, I've just worked very hard on them and been as big a tryhard as I possibly can. I'm rubbish at most things, though.
Now, tell us about the Happy Cafe. This seems like an exciting project.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things which someone can use to derive happiness. And this Happy Cafe that's there in London, it provides all sorts of things I've never heard of. Laughing yoga, singing baristas. I think I don't want to go down just to see those things. And
Bubble play zone as well. So don't forget the bubble play
zone. And, and not to mention the free food and drink. I mean, one of the things they're offering is banana bread. And I love a good banana bread. That's one of my favorite things to have. And just going there while you're having a hot chocolate, having a singing barista give you your hot chocolate and compliment you. They've got a compliment station as well. It's just, all round good feel hits, And
if people are in London, where exactly is this Happy Cafe then?
If you go into Margaret Street, then you have an opportunity. Again, it's all free, like we were just talking about. And you get to, just have a lovely time. I just want to mention that banana bread, obviously, everybody became experts of during lockdown. But I also, on there, that I've added onto the list as well, there's an apple crumble cake, which I absolutely love. So make sure if you are in the London area or going over there, then you get well involved, give it a go, and then let us know what you think of them all, because they're going to be delicious.
Now, Greg, just to finish on, is there any more challenges you're planning in the future?
I need to stop, don't I? I need to stop destroying myself with these different things. What I found when I retired, what I loved is pushing my body, pushing myself mentally as well. And often that's a way of doing it. Like I'm clearly not the most intelligent person. I'm not going to be saving lives anytime soon. But it's something that I love to challenge myself. What I'm looking into a bit more at the moment now is genuine, real, difficult physical challenges, try and help raise money for charity, etc. And they're some of the things that we're currently exploring at the moment, because why not push my body to the extremes while I still can? Although just before we start this conversation, we was talking about a few hernias that I have actually, so I think we might have to jump on the operation table after this. But it's something I love a challenge, and challenges that are put my way, I go fully into and give my absolute all.
Well, guys, it's been great talking to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, time for some brand new music now, and the Black Star Riders are back with a new album and a new single as well. We're going to chat to frontman Ricky Warwick in just a second, but right now, here is the new single from the Black Star Riders.
It's all about love. It's not about them. It's all about us. Don't even think for a minute. Don't waste your time. Nobody knows what's going on behind that crooked smile. Keep on doing all the don'ts. Keep on willing. Saturday night, clear outside. Better than Saturday night. It's not about them. It's all about now. It's not about if. It's all about what, when, where, and how. Don't let them fool you with the guilt of survival. In a world full of cliches, baby, you're a revival. Keep on doing all the don'ts. Keep on willing all the wants. Ah, yeah, it's gonna be alright. Better than Saturday night, clear outside. Better than Saturday night. Put on your getaway shoes and run into the light. It's alright. Better than Saturday night. The safest place to be is in the eye of the storm. You can tap the fire out of the bud. Keep on dancing on the ledge. Be true to yourself to the end. It's gonna be alright. Keep on doing all the don'ts. Keep on willing all the wants. Ah, yeah, it's gonna be alright. Better than Saturday night, clear outside. Better than Saturday night. Put on your getaway shoes and run into the light. It's alright. Better than Saturday night. Better than Saturday night. It's gonna be alright. Better than Saturday night. Better than Saturday night. Better than Saturday night.
So that is the new single from the Black Star Riders. That's called Better Than Saturday Night, and that's taken from their new album, which is called The Wrong Side of Paradise. I'm pleased to say that the Black Star Riders frontman Ricky Warwick joins us now in the studio. Ricky, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Rob. And good to see you.
It's got to be a few years since the
3
last time you were
years, I think pretty much to the month since I was last with you, before we had that horrible experience for a couple of years that we all went through. But yeah, it's lovely to be back. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you again. So how did you cope with the whole pandemic then?
I think like everybody else, initially panicked and went, what's going on, what's happened? And I think then when we realised we're in for the long haul, for me, career-wise, it was just really going into the studio I had at home and writing furiously. I did a lot of online shows, which is something I'd never done before, and really enjoyed doing them and found them to be great experience and something new for me. And I was doing maybe one every 2 months while we were in lockdown, and they were a lot of fun and a great way to stay connected with everybody out there, you know, that was into the music. So, you know, actually, you know, once I sort of accepted the state we were in and kept busy, you know, I feel like I made the best of it and got through it okay.
Excellent. Of course, home these days for you is Los Angeles, isn't it?
Almost 20 years, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
But every time I look on your social media, you seem to have spent a lot of time back in Northern Ireland this year.
Any excuse to come back to my real home, which is here. Yeah, you know, I have tons of family here, a lot of friends here. I'm over at the minute, obviously, I was playing the Custom House Square with my solo band, opening for Stiff Little Fingers a couple of weeks ago. My wife had a big birthday, so she came over with me and we spent a few days down Strangford Lough celebrating that, and just with family and friends. Always great to come home.
Excellent. So it must have been good to be on the same bill as Stiff Little Fingers, because I know you're a massive fan.
I am. I mean, as I was saying to you just off camera, you know, my inner 14-year-old was doing cartwheels. I mean, not just Stiff Little Fingers, but the undertones are on the bill as well. One of the first songs I learned on guitar was Teenage Kicks.
Wow.
So huge Undertones fan. And then the great, you know, Pauline Black and the Selector, one of the great, you know, two-tone ska bands from back in the day. So that was a real, just this honour to share stage with her and her band. Just watching those bands and being on that stage, and it's a hometown gig, was just an incredible experience. It was a wonderful day. We had a great time.
Brilliant. So we're talking to Greg Rutherford there about things that make us happy. So I would imagine being on stage is when you're at your happiest.
Being on stage, family, you know, being with my kids, coming back here, those are the things that immediately spring to mind that make me the happiest, you know. I've probably, you know, my family's happy, I'm happy. That's probably the number one thing, and then, you know, the career would come second to that.
Yeah, I mean, you have achieved a lot in your career, from not just Black Star Riders, but from your solo stuff as well. And then the Thin Lizzy stuff as well, which must still come up all the time. Because that must have been a great honour to go in and do that role in Thin Lizzy.
I mean, it was and it still is, because I think we're looking at doing some Thin Lizzy shows next year, so that's still very much ongoing. It's just, again, Lizzy were, you know, Stiff Little Fingers, Lizzy were my probably two favourite bands, and still are. It's an honour to sing those wonderful songs that Phil and the boys wrote and keep the spirit alive of those songs, and it's a huge privilege just every night to get up there and belt out those classics that we all love, you know.
Indeed. So tell us about the Black Star Riders as well. We heard the new single there, Better Than Saturday Night. What's the story behind that?
That was one of the last songs I wrote for the album. We recorded the album in October of 2021, and right before we went in, I just got the idea for the song, and it was one of those ones that I wrote it in about 15 minutes, so if only they were all like that. And the producer says, no, this is going on the album. And I wanted to write something really positive and uplifting because of everything that we've all been through the last couple of years. And I really wanted to write it for my kids. And I had this thing that I said to my daughter. I said, you know, how did you go on today? Was it good? And I said, was it better than Saturday night? And she goes, yeah, Dad, it was. And I thought, right, I'm gonna put that in a song. And that's really where it came from. I just wanted to write something that was a feel-good, sort of anthemic, uplifting song, and hopefully I did it with Better Than Saturday Night.
And of course, it's part of the album as well,
The
Wrong Side of Paradise. So what else can we expect from the album?
Well, we've recorded 13 tracks, which will be on the album. We recorded part of it at Dave Grohl's studio, 606 in Los Angeles, which was phenomenal working in there. So a great vibe in that studio, and you know, I think it's Black Star Riders, it's loud guitars, it's thunderous drums, it's anthemic choruses. You know, we don't stray too much from that format, and I think everybody will be pleased when they hear it.
Indeed. Now you're heading back out on tour as well, with the band. Now there's no Northern Ireland dates on the tour.
There will be.
There will be.
There will be. I'm working on it. We're working on it. Well, I'm working on it even more than the rest of them because it's more important to me. Yeah, we just looking at the logistics of that, but I can quite confidently say that I think we're going to be announcing a Belfast show very soon.
Brilliant. And what's life on the road like with you guys? How rock and roll are you these days?
It's not so much rock and roll these days. You know, a couple of us don't drink in the band. I don't drink anymore. So it's quite sedate, but we still have a laugh, and you know, we still get on very well. And there's a lot of sitting up at night telling old war stories from back in the day when we used to party and stuff like that. But
and how wild was the partying back in the day?
Oh, it was mad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Did we get to throwing TVs through hotel
TVs
windows?
have been thrown out a window. That's great until you get the bill. for the damages the next day.
I don't know about that.
No,
do they?
we were naive, and then everybody else is getting their check at the end of the tour, and the tour manager's going, and you owe the band XX amount for your little night in, the Holiday Inn in Coventry or wherever it was. So I learned pretty quickly that that's not a very profitable way to behave. But yeah, we were kids, and we were given the keys to the candy store, and we certainly went out there and lived out our dreams when we were younger,
I remember a friend of mine went on tour with Motley Crue, and he said in the tour bus it was just a sea of women's knickers.
we were never like that. No, we were a bit more adventurous with our tomfoolery. We were quite, we used to. I remember one experience. A journalist gave us a bad review, and we didn't like what he wrote, and he was coming out on tour with us, to do a feature on the road, and we decided we'd duct tape him to a tree somewhere outside of Paris and drive off and leave him there.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long was he there for? You don't know?
No idea.
He could still be at that tree outside Paris somewhere.
But he never wrote a bad review about the band again, so,
Any other stories like that? I mean, you must have met lots of music legends and met your heroes over the years.
Absolutely.
And sometimes they say, never meet your heroes because you could end up being disappointed.
Well, I mean, to me, that hasn't worked. Everybody I've met that has a musical inspiration to me, have been absolutely fantastic and lived up to everything that I hoped they would be. Lemmy comes to mind. From the great late Lemmy Kilmister. He was obviously the lead singer of Motorhead, as people know. Phenomenal guy, the real deal. Very intelligent guy, very down to earth, very honest guy. And I'm happy that I got to know him and could call him a friend. Obviously, I know Joe Elliott from Def Leppard very well. I was Joe's best man at his wedding.
Wow. And
Joe's a great friend and a great ally to me, and continues to be so.
And what's a Def Leppard wedding? Was it a who's who of the rock industry?
It was pretty special. I think giving the best man speech, I think, was the scariest stage experience I've ever been. Not being on a stage, but being in that room and seeing Brian May sitting over there, and Ian Hunter from What the Hoople, and all these kind of luminaries that I looked up to. Was very nerve-wracking, but it was a fantastic, a real honour, obviously, and just a great experience.
And of course, the new Def Leppard album is just brilliant.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Alison Krauss and everybody's on it.
It's great. I was just talking to a friend there. I actually got the privilege of seeing them play right before the current stadium tour. They did a little secret show in the Rainbow in Los Angeles in front of 400 people, and I was able to go to that, and they just knocked it out of the park in a small club. They just sounded as good as ever, and it was just lovely to be in the crowd and see them playing,
And of course, LA has all those famous rock clubs that we all know from watching in the movies and stuff. You must have played most of them over the years.
Played most of them over the years, yes. Sadly, a few of them are disappearing now. The House of Blues is no longer there in Hollywood, which is very sad. But the Roxy's still there, the Rainbow's still there, Viper Room's still there, and those are all legendary venues. And I'm being blessed to play them all. So
brilliant. Okay, we're going to go live to the Royal Mint in Wales very shortly to talk about collections. So is there any kind of weird collections that you've kind of collected over the years?
Yeah. Well, it's not so much collections, but again, we were talking just off camera about this, Robin, and I said, this is amazing you're bringing that up, because years ago I got given this. Is there a camera I can hold it up to? Or?
Yeah, you just hold it up, the camera will zoom in.
So this is an old First World War token for a bakery that my great-great-grandfather owned in Belfast, and if you can see it, it's got John Warwick, which is obviously, my grandfather's name, and it's for 6D, so I guess you would have used these during the rationing in the First World War to buy your bread. And I was given this years ago, and I keep it in my wallet. It's been all over the world with me, and it's kind of like a good luck token, But so that's my coin collection right there. It's pretty special.
Pretty special. So your family, you came from a bakery background. Was there
bakery
music?
Background that then moved into farming.
Really?
It's from my grandfather. My great-grandfather and my grandfather went into farming after the bakery thing, and my father was a farmer. I left school, I worked on the farm till I was 19, and then music took over, and I said goodbye to the welly boots and the tractors. And
so how did you discover music?
Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
Like most kids of my generation, that was a religion on Thursday nights, and at that point it would have been all the glam rock bands like Slade, T-Rex, Sweet, Mark Bolan was a huge hero of mine back then, and I had two older sisters that were very into rock music, so listening to their record collection, and then punk came along and totally changed my world, and that was it.
And the rest history. All these years later,
the rest is history.
You're still rocking all over the world.
I'm hitting 35 years of being a professional musician, I think, next year, so the fact that I've had a career as long as that is a true blessing, and you know, hopefully no signs of stopping yet.
Brilliant. Okay, well, Ricky, it's been great seeing you as always.
Thank you, Robin.
And we look forward to seeing yourself with the Black Star Riders back in Belfast.
Can't wait.
Sometime soon. I'm going to play a song now from the last time you were here. You did a live acoustic version of Tonight the Moonlight Let Me Down. So tell us the story about that song. Special song, that, isn't it?
Thank you. That was written on the last album, which came out 3 years ago. The album was called Another State of Grace. And the song's really about missing loved ones, you know, and the memory never dies, and holding on to the memory of the good times that you had with people that were close to you.
Brilliant. Well, we'll have a listen to this. In the meantime, Ricky, thank you for coming in.
Pleasure.
Thank you. So, recorded live in the NVTV studios, here he is one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Here is Ricky Warwick.
Can I fill a pie together like in the days of no surrender? Wishing things would only get better, but they never do. I'm always leaving, but I'll never leave. I'm always going, but I'll never go. I'm always thinking, but I'll never know. I'm always running, but I'm moving slow. Whatever you've been, you were always the one. Whatever you did, you should always have done. Wherever you went, you should never have gone. And I can't wait till you come back home. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na. Do you still remember making out on the stormy weather? Wishing it would last forever, but it never does. You're always laughing, but you never smile. You're always crying, but you never cry. You're always running, but you don't know why. Can't win for losing, but you gotta try. Whatever you did, you were always the one. Wherever you went, you should always have gone. Wherever you went, you should never have gone. And I can't wait till you come back home. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Whatever you've been, you were always the one. Whatever you did, you should always have done. Wherever you went, you should never have gone. And I can't wait till you come back home. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound.
Okay, time for something very exciting now. We're going to go live to the Royal Mint because they're celebrating the nation's passion for collecting things. And I'm pleased to say we can chat to Rebecca Morgan, who is the Director of Collector Services at the Royal Mint. Rebecca, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So, Rebecca, tell us about your job at the Royal Mint. It sounds like the job of a lifetime.
Yeah, it is a fantastic job. I'm very lucky. I'm the Director of Collector Services at the Royal Mint, which means I'm involved in all things to do with collecting. So historic coins, commemorative coins, helping people look after their collections, value their collections, and even get them graded. So everything to do with coin collecting.
So let's talk about collections then. Is coin collections still popular today then?
Yeah, I think most so, to be honest, because it's just a really accessible hobby. So lots of people can get into it quite quickly. But also you've got people who've been collecting for years, generations, that hand their collections down as well. So I think that helps to keep the coin collecting passion alive.
And for somebody who's maybe starting a coin collection, they may even have some coins lying around the house or lying around the attic that could actually be worth a few quid, couldn't it?
Absolutely. I'd encourage anybody who doesn't know the coins that they have, whether they're worth money or even what coins they are, to get in touch with the Royal Mint. We have a authentication evaluation service that can help online, that can help you work out which coins you actually have, or obviously a vast amount of information on the Royal Mint as well that you can just look for yourself if you'd like to work it out. But yeah, there could be things you have that are worth money, but also we find lots of people sentimental value for coins. So you could find out what point in time those coins were used and what they were used for, and sort of what eras they saw. So lots of interesting things with the coins you could have in your attic.
So let's take a look at the latest research carried out then throughout the whole of the UK. So what kind of things are people collecting then?
So coins and stamps, as you'd expect, the classics that people have been collecting for a long time. But we see in the rise of things like trading cards, vinyl records has always been something that people have collected, but I think probably even more so now. Video games, and more recent is trainers.
Really?
Absolutely. And I think, it's been, as I talk to people about coins, obviously the rarer the coin, usually the more expensive or collectible it is. And I think the trainer companies have cottoned on to this, and they are bringing out limited edition trainers that are obviously going up significantly in the secondary market when people can't get hold of them. So very, very popular emerging collection at the moment.
Now we've got Collectors Week coming up really soon. Tell us all about that.
So Collectors Week is the last week in September. It's an annual event for the Royal Mint, and it's great for us because we get to celebrate our collectors. They're a hugely passionate group of people, and they are a large, hugely passionate group of people, and it's great to be able to give something back to them, the effort they put into their collecting all year round. But we also like to recognise collectors of anything, not just coins. So there are categories for the Collect Week Awards, lots for coins, but there is one that is for the best collection overall, which could be a collection of anything. But Collect Week is really a celebration of collecting. There are webinars, competitions, guides. There'll be ways for people to understand how they can get into collecting, tips, tricks, everything you can think of.
And over the years, you must have seen some really weird collections.
Yeah, it's good. I'm a judge this year on the Collect Week Awards, but last year I did take a look at the entries into some of the categories, and I was absolutely fascinated that somebody collected soda pop cans from all over the world. Their collection is huge. And apparently the different brands of soda have different cans depending on which country in the world you're in. So somebody collected all the different designs of all the different soda pop cans. So I thought that was quite an interesting collection. But you see people with all sorts of huge rooms filled with 50p's. And my favourite category, which is the oldest and youngest collecting duo. So grandparents and grandchildren, etc., that collect together. I think that's a really fabulous category.
Now, nostalgia coins are very popular at the moment, especially the music ones. I know we had the David Bowie one out recently, which was very popular, wasn't it?
Yes, nostalgia is one of the main reasons that people collect. There's a couple of main ones, but when the research showed that finding pieces that spark nostalgia is about 39% of people say that's what started them collecting something. So nostalgia on coins is great, but also a celebration of icons, i.e. David Bowie that you just talked about, or huge figures in the literary world like Beatrix Potter.
Now, you guys are also based in South Wales, and people can now actually go and visit the Royal Mint, can't they?
Yes, the Royal Mint experience is the most unique experience you could come across. It's the only place in Britain you can see where the official UK coins are struck. So you can see into the factory where the coins are being struck, but also we have 1,100 years of history as a brand as well. So being able to understand all the things that we've been part of over those 1,100 years, and how coin minting technology has moved on from one person with a little hammer chiseling away the design right up to the technology we use today, producing thousands of coins every minute.
Well, Rebecca, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and the very best of luck with Collectors Week.
Great, thanks very much.
Right, we're talking about takeaway theatre now. What is it? Well, I'm dying to find out because Jemma from Open Arts joins us now in the studio. Jemma, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Before we talk about the Open Arts project, as you just saw there, we went live to the Royal Mint to talk collections there.
Okay.
You had a kind of weird collection, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about it.
Do I have to?
Go on, go on.
When I was younger, I used to collect plastic bags, but not your run-of-the-mill.
Not Tesco carrier bags and things.
Like,
no.
it had to come up to like a certain bar. So you had like the old school green Body Shop bags. Like if somebody had given me a gift, I would have kept it if it was really lovely. So it just wasn't just a random old plastic bag. And I kept them right up until my mum done a clear out. And I'm not ashamed to say I'll be 40 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I must have had them until I was at least 30. I was
Wow.
devastated.
And how's your relationship with your mother now?
I love her dearly.
But you never know, there could be bags in there that actually could be
know.
worth a few quid, as you found out there on the
Like I'm
interview
sure
there.
there was stuff in there that probably is no longer running anymore.
Yeah.
Could have been a collector's
You think
item.
of all those high street stores that have disappeared and stuff,
know.
and you had the carrier bags to go with it.
I know.
Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today.
No.
We're here to talk about takeaway theatre. Tell me about Open Arts, first of all, because it's the 30th anniversary this year,
It
isn't
is.
it?
We are 30. We are an arts disability organisation. We're based in Belfast. It started off as a research project in the late 80s, and then it started to become an organisation in 1992, so big 3-0 this year. We run a core programme of arts activities for adults primarily, but we do have a children's programme, which we work in partnership with Angel Eyes and Autism Initiatives. Most of our core classes are in the Crescent. It's across all the boards. We've got dance, drama, creative writing, visual art. So we're kept very busy. We're a very small group, but we do a lot.
Yeah, now
We never stop.
the new thing you're doing is takeaway theatre. What's all this about then?
So it started off as a pilot by the lead artist, Maeve Ivers. And we sort of come out of the whole thing around lockdown and challenges and stuff. And she had piloted it, and then she approached Open Arts, and we went into partnership, and we were like, right, this is a great concept. Let's try and get some funding. So we tried, and we were very successful, and we got funding from the Bank of Ireland, and it's through their Together Fund. So takeaway theatre is what the name suggests. It's theatre that's taken away, but it's taken away from its normal context, and it's brought into your living room. It's brought into your back garden. It's wherever you want to have it. And it's throughout lockdown, a lot of people, now that lockdown, all the restrictions and stuff, people are still a wee bit anxious about going out. I know some of our participants are still a wee bit anxious. So having takeaway theatre kind of breaks those barriers away and allows families that maybe want to go back to the theatre or have some sort of creative experience with their children who maybe have a disability. It allows them to do that in a safe and controlled environment that the child or the person of the family has. So they're comfortable.
Yes, yeah.
And they're around people that they know. So what will happen is we've got 4 lovely artists, and they, before the visit, they will phone the parents and they will have a chat through. They've got like a wee questionnaire, and it's just to see what the abilities, the communication needs of the child, have they any likes, dislikes. So it means then whenever they arrive at the house, it's all very tailor-made. No 2 sessions are alike. It's just the use of story time, play, and it gives that child and their family just a bit of together time to have a bit of crack, come up with a wee story, and they can have it as many times as they want, and it's never going to be the same.
Right.
So you can start with a parrot, and maybe Johnny the parrot's going out for tea with Sylvia the fairy, and then it can just spiral in numerous directions.
It sounds so exciting. Now, you're looking for people right through until June of next year to take
Yes.
part in this, aren't you?
It's for families with kids 5+, and it's throughout Northern Ireland, and it's all completely free. So if anybody's interested, they can either check out our website,
Okay, well, give us your website details then.
If you'd like to know some more information about Takeaway Theatre, if you go to www.openartsni.org, or you can also contact Eiling at Eiling, E-I-L-E-E-N, at openartsni.org, or you can go to the website and find our telephone number as well.
Brilliant. Well, it sounds like a fascinating project. Gemma, the best of luck with it, and thank you for joining us.
Proud, so I can get you signed up.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, time for some live music in the NVTV studios with a song called I'm Not the One. Here is John Devlin from John Devlin and the Revolvers.
You got my number. You think that it's all worked out. Done with the one. Now you say it's over. You're so clever now. Now that it's gone. Hey, you got your money. You're walking on broken hearts, nothing to sell. Well, hey, storm is coming. It will rain so hard down on your head. Another passenger in a stranger's room. Someone else's song. You can't tell me that you've never loved someone who felt you pass away. Got my number. You think that it's all worked out. Down off the one. Now say it's over. You're so clever now. Now that it's gone.
So there we go, performing live here in the NVTV studios. That's John Devlin. That's a track called I'm Not the One. And I'm pleased to say the man himself joins us now. John, how are you?
I'm doing grand, Robin. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So tell us about that song that you just performed there. What's the story behind that?
I'm Not the One. I wrote in London many moons ago, and basically it was just basic. The phrase in the song is, you've got my number. which is the hook line of it. And it's basically, I was going out with this Australian girl at the time, and I'd be texting her, and then she wouldn't be replying, and I'd be going like, she's really got my number. You know what I mean, that phrase. So it just came out of that, and it just basically, the songs kind of like write themselves, you know what I mean? So it was just, I had the melody line and the hook line, and then that wee phrase, and then just wrote it around that. But it just seems to be a very popular song, and people seem to like it, you know, so.
Indeed. So you're back in Northern Ireland now. You spent a lot of years
Back in Northern Ireland.
in London. Did you miss London, do you?
No, I liked it, you know, but it's just I got burnt out with it. It's a young man's game, so and really, really expensive, and so it was just time to come home. Do you know what I mean? So, but I had a band over there. I was playing like Dublin Castle 12 Bar Club, which was like a regular, and just all the venues around there. But I just had enough of it, you know. So it's just hard. It's difficult. Like, you know, if you're an artist in London, you know, if you don't have, you know, business dealings and all that sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah. Tell us about your music background. You were born in Limerick.
Born in Limerick, but I only sort of stayed there for in the hospital, you know. And family's from Belfast, but then my family all moved down south during the Troubles. Was born in Limerick, lived in Dundalk for a lot of years. Then they all came back to Belfast in the early 90s, and then I moved out to London, do you know what I mean, in about 2000, you know, and now I'm back here, you know, so.
So what about influences and stuff? Who were you listening to back then?
I just love rock and roll, basically, so I love Creedence, Clearwater Revival, you know, Lennon, Beatles, all that sort of stuff, and I just like, you know, just kind of meat and potatoes rock and roll, just like bass drums, guitars. But I was just saying, everybody, that this is my second interview ever, you know what I mean, so. And the only other interview I did was for an internet radio show, so here we go. You know.
Oh, there you go. Well,
can I do my best Michael Caine impression?
I was going to say, I was thinking, who do you look like? And I thought, take you back to Harry Palmer, 1960s. It could be, couldn't it?
You're a big man, but you're out of shape. With me, it's a full-time job. Now behave yourself.
Brilliant. Well, if music doesn't work out for whatever reason, you can get a job as a Michael Caine lookalike.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Tell us about the new band, because I know some people who went to see you in the American Bar recently. The band's called the Revolvers.
Yeah.
And these guys had a great night with you.
Well, it's John Devlin and the Revolvers, darling. So, no, well, what it was, I just, during the pandemic, I put my stuff up all online, and I've always had a problem with musicians. I think everybody can understand this, you know, just getting musicians or holding on to them. But the guys I'm playing with at the moment, they all just sort of gravitated towards me. And I've got an excellent drummer. He's been playing for donkey's years. He was like, comes from a hard rock sort of genre, but we're not hard rock, by the way, but great bass player. And it's like, there's a 5-piece basically, and they're all guys in my age, like 40s, 50s. I think our combined age is about 620 years old. So lock up your grannies. But yeah, they're all a great bunch of guys, and they're all on the ball, do you know what I mean? So we just do it, do you know what I mean? You know, so. So
gigs coming up. The next one I think is in October, 7th of October, the American Bar, isn't it?
7th of October, and there's one in McHugh's in November, and one in, but you can find them all on our website, johndevlinandtherevolvers.com, and then we've got one in November and one in December, so you just check out our website.
We will, of course. Now, to finish off the show, we're standing by with one of your music videos. Interesting title to this one. Tell us about this.
Homunculus and Wild is kind of like, I just got the inspiration from Jekyll and Hyde, do you know what I mean? And it's just kind of a strange song. It's not like a really typical song. It's like kind of baroque. I don't know if that makes any sense. Kind of quirky. It's got a wee story in it. And the lyrics sort of explain it themselves, like a firm of lawyers.
It's not happy stuff.
It's not happy stuff, but they sort of kill people to keep themselves in business. So it's a bit of a dark But it's funny. It's a funny song. Like,
Okay, right. So we started off the show talking about happiness. We're going to finish up with your music video, Why Not? John, it's been great talking to you.
Thank you very much,
so
Robin.
much for
Thank
coming
you.
in. So let's watch the music video now, and thank you for watching. Thank you to all the guests as well, and we'll see you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.
Firm of lawyers specialize in home-assisted suicide. Homunculus unwound. Each case a sordid fascination. They be working through the night. Homunculus unwound. But it's alright. And if you're feeling lonely, you don't need to go the extra mile. Just relax, we'll take away your worries. Kind regards, homunculus unwound. A small advance is all it takes to help you to the other side. Homunculus unwound. Your next of kin will be informed of your unfortunate demise. Homunculus unwound. Well, it's alright.